What's up, guys? Pretty much going to talk about the living situation with Generation Z and probably the best ways you should live going into 2027 next year. And I'd say my honest opinion is going like either with your parents or Airbnbs or like long term stay hotels is honestly your best option. Um, I would definitely, because you don't have to do the first months, the last months, the security deposit. You can pretty much straight in go to an Airbnb with just like your ID and like basic information. And it will run you similar prices, but you don't have to pay utilities and you don't have to pay like the first month's, last month's security. So just there, you're saving 5 grand just getting into an Airbnb versus an apartment. And not paying utilities will save you $400 to $500 a month. So let's say you have an Airbnb that's 2,000 versus an apartment that's 2,000. That apartment that's 2,000, you'll pay the 5 grand to get in. So you're paying 7 grand for that month, and then you add the $500 on utilities. You're paying $7,500 for your first month. When an Airbnb, your first month, you're just paying the 2,000, and then they could probably work out a deal with you if you get along with the person that owns the Airbnb rental. Um, you could probably do it for like 1,800 a month for the rest of the months, or 1,900 depending on how nice they are. Your relationship with them just all depends. And if you obviously do a good job of taking care of the place while you're living there. But no, I'm pretty much making this video to say like renting and buying a house is no longer really possible for my generation. And I don't want to take people away from their dreams or anything like that. But if you do own a home, congratulations. But it's going to take like a lot of time and energy between both partners in a relationship or even like a marriage, like from the wife and the husband, both working overtime, both like never being really at the house to be able to afford that house. And then some people might be lucky with like inheritance money or money given to them to buy their home as like a housewarming gift. Everybody has a different scenario. Some people are born into rich families and raised in rich families, and it just is what it is. Some people are going to have that luxury, but for the average Joe that doesn't really, it's not really given anything and just growing up, like by the time you hit 18 to 21, you got to start living your life. Those people are probably going to end up either living in their car, doing Airbnbs or long-term stay hotels because that's just how it has to go. For you to have some sort of balance in your life, that's the way we have to live. Like I'm living with my parents right now, and if I didn't have them, I'd be doing like the options, like I said, living in my car, or living in an Airbnb, or living in a long-term stay hotel. So things are a lot different now from even just 10 years ago. In 2016, you could comfortably get a nice two-bedroom apartment for $900 a month, and that was a pretty big apartment. And now that same apartment is $2,000 a month. So we have way different living circumstances. So if I end up like, leaving my parents' house eventually, which probably won't happen for a decent amount of time because, I'm taking care of them now, and my dog recently got injured last year and we're kind of letting him recover. But anyways, besides the point, the route I go further is definitely not a home or an apartment. It's definitely going to be probably an Airbnb most likely. Um, and I'm unfortunately that's the way it's going. I mean, I'd probably end up getting an Airbnb anyway if rent went down, but it just seems like even like with the job market today, things like not many people are accepting new hires, or there's not like a form of entry level anymore. It's just like you either have 3 years of working experience in that field or you don't get a job at all. And if you do end up landing a job that's in the field that you want to go in, so for example, I got my CDL last year. And I worked for Schneider for 3 months, and I feel like I had a good amount of experience between the school and Schneider, and I couldn't get with any local company at all. All the local companies wanted 3 years experience. And then the only one I could get hired by was Western Express. All the rest wanted at least 1 year experience that paid well. And Western Express was only offering 38 cents a mile, and their routes were inconsistent, and I heard their communication was trash. So I was like, you know what, trucking's not for me. It's just you're on the road so long and you're not getting paid jack, and you need a absurd amount of experience to even land a decent job in trucking. So I was like, screw that. So right now I'm personal training and making that work while living with my parents. And as a personal trainer, you don't make a lot to start, but it's something I love to do. So I was willing to make that sacrifice. But, and that's kind of like where a lot of my generation is going now. They're like, well, if I can't pay the bills doing something I hate, I might as well become or still stay poor the way I am and do something I love to do. Because if you're working a warehouse job and it pays in this area, which is like 2,500 a month take home, you're still not paying the bills in this area. And those jobs are miserable. I don't know if you ever worked a warehouse job, but they are to the point where they want your numbers pushed out. They don't care like what health condition you're in. They don't care what's going on in your life. They want those numbers. And even when you're putting your health in that way, of especially a lot of these warehouse jobs do third shift. Um, if you're not making the numbers, they're quick to fire you. They're quick to put you under the bus, and you know the wages they pay you don't even pay for a basic of living in America. So that's why people, you know, also known as me, going into a field where yeah, it might not pay as much, but we love to do it, and I have the leverage and the opportunity. And like I say in every video, I'm blessed by Jesus because I really am. I'm blessed to be able to walk healthy.